filmfestivalcircuit.com and the director of the Portland Comedy Film Festival. The Portland Comedy Film Festival Fall 2022 is coming up on November the 13th. The selections are already done, and we are joined by one of the films that's going to be screening there, Hot Mess, directed by Evelyne Tollman. Hey, Evelyne, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, your submission, Hot Mess, is actually nominated for the Best Dark Comedy Series episode, so congrats for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the judges for enjoying it.
You're very welcome, and we're excited to screen it. You make us look good. We appreciate you, and we're ready for this event at Clinton Street Theater. So please tell us, for those that are going to attend, what is the synopsis of Hot Mess?
Well, first of all, I wish I could be there. It's such a great festival. Thank you so much. So I moved to Vienna 4 years ago, and I started writing all my feelings down. And it first was a book, and then it became a one-person play, and then COVID happened. So then I thought, I have to turn this into a series. So Hot Mess is a Jewish American princess, moves to Vienna, and is burning up due to culture shock, menopause, fear of Nazis, and loss of the American dream. That's all what was happening when I moved here. So it was, of course, not so fun to go through, but comedy comes from, pain. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned doing this did you shoot during COVID? Did you write during COVID? Like where did this all take place?
Yeah, the process of it was really interesting. I was really keen to write a book and just get it all out, and it was super fun. And then, of course, when the play was ready to go, COVID happened. So then I wrote the episode of the beginning, and we started shooting during COVID, and which was great because I loved it. The streets were empty. You didn't have to worry about location so much. So I actually thought it was really wonderful. I really enjoyed COVID personally. I loved the quiet, and then at the end of COVID, I needed to do some pickup shots, learned what didn't work for the edit, what I needed more of. And so COVID was over. So now the streets were packed. So it was interesting.
I was going to ask you next what you learned during this shooting process.
It's really interesting turning a play into a series, because at first it was too dialogue-y. I had too much monologues to the camera, and it didn't work. So we had to go back after I saw the original footage. It was actually funnier, but it was just too dialogue-y. So we had to go back. I rewrote the gynecologist scene without this huge monologue to camera going, oh my God, what is she a Nazi? Is my vagina old? Like, I had this crazy monologue that goes on and on, but it was too much. So I had to redo that.
That sounds funny though.
It's actually much funnier. Everyone, like, the first version's much funnier. We should actually have a festival with both, like what didn't work and then but this is darker now.
All right. Well, it sounds like this is a very different shoot than a very different film and a different product than anything else that we're screening at the festival. Mm-hmm. The reason why the character is so believable is obviously because it came from, an inner place. Any other motivations for writing this down? Was this kind of a self-therapy for you, or just...
Oh, you're on to me. Yes, it is. I think art is the best therapy. I, of course, try to change it because my husband would be horrified, and my son and everyone I make fun of. And also, I have to say, it really did come from pain. I felt very haunted here as a Jewish woman living in Vienna. I felt ghosts everywhere. I felt the history of Austria, and I couldn't escape it. And so as the series, which I hope to keep shooting, goes on, she's more and more haunted. How do you make peace with the past, with the culture, And that's what I really want to explore. And how do we be here now without the past. And I think it's a universal theme,
Mm.
I think.
What is the future of this series? Do you have one episode filmed? Do you have any others written? Like, what's your anything you can reveal at this time?
Written the next episode, and I'm already wanting to shoot it because it's so fun. I think it's funnier than this one now. Like I just gave myself more freedom, and it's not as personal. It's more comic. And then I have the outline for the third one. I was funded by the Vienna. What's it? You can apply for film funding. So I was lucky enough to get the film funding. So I'm going to apply again, or rob a bank, but I hope to get funding for the next one.
Well, you've been very successful with this one so far. If you ever do any crowdfunding or you ever want us to put the word out for you, please let me know, and we'll share on socials. Now you're a Portland Comedy Film Festival alum, so you're in the group.
Well, thank
So
you so much.
we appreciate it. So is there anything else you want to add, or anything else you want to talk about?
I'm curious. How do you find your judges? What makes you pick this? Pick the projects you pick.
Good question. So the judges, we do a lot of searches, very local. We used some Facebook job ads, some Craigslist posts, former filmmakers, local filmmakers that want to be involved, and then sometimes just local people that we know that come to the festival. They wander in and they realize they like it and they want to watch more and they want to get more out of the movies and they want to talk about the movies and get into our judging groups where we discuss what we want to put on screen. And so our judges come from all over the place. We have everything from people who are busy and work on set all the time to nursing mothers at home that can sit there and watch 10 hours of movies in a row. And we do pay our judges a little bit of money for every film that they observe. So that's where your submission fees go to a lot of the just making sure that we pay a little something, because when you try to do things for free or you just hand it to interns, I think that you get inconsistency as far as watching things and as far as dedication. People get burned out, they disappear, they don't communicate. And so our system is to make sure that we're always having eyeballs on these films and getting several ratings, because you can only really have a true idea if something is funny if you cross-section a lot of people. So if you're sitting in the audience and there's 200 people watching your film, if you've had about 10 people judge it or go through it, you can kind of get an idea of what they think. And if only 2 out of 10 of your judges like it, you don't want to be in a situation where you're looking at the screen and there's 100 and something people that don't like what they're seeing, because we work hard to make sure things are funny. With the Portland Comedy Film Festival, as opposed to other film festivals that we run the Oregon Short Film Festival as well, which is an all genre fest. One of the big differences between the two events is that the Oregon Short Film Festival is very production oriented, where people are looking for cinematic films that have great acting and high production value and look great, and really the cream of the crop of all genres. With the Portland Comedy Film Festival, we're just looking for the funniest things that have laugh factor. So you can shoot with an amazing camera and have really good actors, but if it's 26 minutes and you've got 2 jokes, it's probably not going to get in. And then you'll see another film get in that's a 90-second music video on a filmed on a mobile phone, and it gets in because it's funny, because there's crazy stuff going on the screen, or the lyrics are funny, or just that laugh factor is there. The character's over the top and having a good time, and people are smiling while they're watching it. And that's the big difference between Portland comedy and our other festivals. And most festivals, I would say, in the world are looking for those beautiful shots. It's all about the cinematography. And with Portland Comedy Film Festival, it's just laughing. We want to be able to sit there and back to back, sit there and show somebody 40 films in 4 hours and just have them laughing the whole time, have them not want to leave, have them not want to take a bathroom break. We do have an intermission, but we want them to stay there and like enjoy and see. And wow, there's a film from Austria. Oh, there's a film from LA. Oh, there's a film from New York. Oh, look what they did in Spain. Oh, here's a subtitled one, and just the combination of so many different funny films makes a great experience. And people walk up to us afterwards and they're like, Michael, I've never seen anything like this. This is the craziest thing. I don't even want to leave. My mom's on the way down. Like when people watch the comedies. It's really a lot of fun.
Can you stream it afterwards? I'd love to see it.
So for the Portland Comedy Film Festival, for the summer event that we have coming up in just next Sunday, we're going to be testing out our first live stream, or I should say, we're going to have all the films that opt to be in the process play in like a loop. So you'll be able to go on and watch, 3 or 4 hours of comedy films. Not everyone wants to project virtually. So as a film festival, when you're submitting to our film festival, you're not opting into a virtual screening. We ask you afterwards. There are films that are on the film festival circuit that are still going, that don't necessarily want to have their films out there for a long period of time. So we'll probably have about 70% of our program available. And the summer event will be the first time. And if you want to, don't worry, I'll send you an email if you want to tune in and catch our first channel where we have films that you can just watch back to back, and interviews and everything else, like interviews like this one with filmmakers that are from the summer competition. So it'll be a very interesting ride to see how our virtual works, and it'll be a low fee, but yeah, we'll have it available. And if it works, if people really embrace it and they really like it, then we'll keep doing it for all of our events.
It sounds like it would be great for hospitals because I forgot what his name was, who said if we laugh we can heal ourselves. So
yeah, that was Robin Williams, I think.
Yeah, what's his name? Someone else.
Yeah, it could have been somebody else. I mean, it's a popular. Laughter is good for the soul. I think you're going back to Aristotle territory with that one, but this is fun when people. There's something different about comedy than other genres. And I guess you could say the same thing about horror as well, because when people are watching a comedy, they're getting an instant reaction. A laugh is usually a surprise. It's usually involuntary. So when you're there and you're sitting in the crowd, it's an out-of-body experience, an opportunity to see your work on screen projected for other people. So you're looking left and right and you're saying, oh, is this guy on his phone, or is this guy laughing, or is this guy smiling, or is this person waiting for the joke? And you get that. And in horror, you get that too. You'll see people scream or whelp or vomit or whatever. We try to. It's a different mission with the horror film festivals, but it's the same in that we're trying to surprise people. People are coming there expecting to see a certain outcome, and that's what's great about comedy. Other genres are great. You get the golf clap at the end. If you're a drama, people patiently wait and respectfully wait till the end, and they do their clapping because they don't want to interrupt anything. But with comedy, it's all about the interruption. It's about everyone's just laughing away. And so it really is a different experience. If we could get this projected in as many places as possible, I think that people would get hooked. I really do, because we have such good films that come through.
I love comedy. Gotta laugh at ourselves.
Yes, we have to, for sure. Well, anything else? I know I'm giving you some long-winded answers, but I'm open for the interview. Anything you'd like to ask?
Okay. Why Portland?
That's funny you asked that. So I kind of wrapped up my career on location as an audio engineer in Houston in about 2015, and that was about the time that we transitioned over to Portland, Oregon, where my wife is from. I married my wife. She had an opportunity to work closer to home, and after running Houston Comedy Film Festival and Austin Comedy Film Festival, it was one of those things where let's try it. Couldn't believe how well it was embraced. In many ways, Portland's a whole different look, a whole different audience, they didn't always laugh at the same beats that you would in other festivals. It has its own identity, and the judges have their own idea of what they think is funny. And we also geographically, we get a lot more West Coast submissions. When you're in LA, the perception of Portland, Oregon is that it's not very far. It's in the same time zone, versus going from LA to Houston, Texas can kind of seem like a long journey. And so we get a lot of more West Coast submissions, and even like Hawaii submissions and Vancouver, Canada submissions. And we get kind of a different pool than we get in Houston and Austin. And our newest one that we're going to be opening up is actually in Atlanta at the Georgia Comedy Film Festival. And that's already started to pour in all these submissions from Tennessee and North Carolina and places that we don't normally see at some of the other festivals. So it's a great mix.
I love that, because the Southern sense of humor is so different. I mean, I'm curious to see how this film's gonna do in Austria, because they have a very different sense of humor. And I showed my mother-in-law the trailer and she didn't laugh. And I said to her, "It's a comedy." And she said, "No, it's very sad."
Oh
So
no.
fascinating why, different cultures, what we laugh at.
It's very different. And before the whole COVID thing started, I was inches away from opening up a festival in Manchester, UK, actually, and was partnering with a friend there and going to do something at university. And he said, "You know what? In the UK, there's nothing like this." He'd come from a filmmaker had come to Portland Comedy Film Festival. Actually, it was crazy. I didn't expect this guy to show up because his film wasn't even nominated for an award. It was an official selection, and which is great. I mean, people getting selected is a huge honor. I mean, we only take, I think, anywhere between 25 and 30% of submissions. But I didn't expect him to come from the UK for that, not from Manchester. And he showed up, and he had a huge crowd for his film, huge laughs for his film. But I'm glad I encouraged him to subtitle it, because the way that they speak Manchester, people were kind of lost. But people were cracking up, and he was telling me there's nothing like this in England. Everything in England is, you'll comedies are here and there in the program, but he was like, to just have a pure comedy film festival like that is something that they didn't have, and so we were close to making that happen, but COVID kind of messed all that up. So, but
Yeah.
one day maybe.
Yeah, maybe in Austria. I don't think there's something like that here either.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to, again, the humor. It'd be interesting to see what Austrian judges select, because I
Yeah.
think that having local flavor really means something. So,
Mhm.
to see like 100 films that have come through Portland and Houston that maybe Americans thought were funny. Sorry, my phone is going crazy
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That maybe Americans thought were funny. It'd be interesting to see what they thought, and then it would also be interesting to see which American filmmakers would actually send their film to Vienna to get considered, or to Austria. So you never know. Find me a venue, we might set up shop.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah, they're good ones.
So yeah, so this is my life now. Not on set anymore. Um, Even though I took my family. We were extras in a program last week.
Oh,
But it was funny because I just wanted to get the kids exposed to the film, because they don't really know me. I kind of retired from film when they were born to take care of them, kind of thing. And so my kids don't really know me as the guy that was on set, for 6 days a week in the union working on shoots, nonstop in different countries and different cities all the time. That part of my life, was a great time in my life, but I don't do that anymore. It's all festivals all the time. And quite
cool.
honestly, as much as I love production, I love working on movies. It's a great experience. It's a life experience. The film festivals are actually even more enjoyable for me, because my whole life is giving people good news. My whole life is coming in and,
Oh,
and
that's so nice.
congratulating, encouraging
Well, I know
people. And
another festival guy who runs it. I mean, like he gets bombarded with desperate filmmakers, or have you watched my film yet? It can also be a little bit difficult, also giving people projections too. It's thinking.
it is, and one of the reasons why we have multiple seasons of a festival, we have our summer season is just next Sunday, and then our fall season is in November. One of the reasons why we have multiple seasons is because we can spread it out more, and we don't have to say no as much. We can take a higher percentage.
Mm-hmm.
It got really bad. There was one year at Austin Comedy Film Festival where I only took 7%
Yeah,
of submissions.
it's
And I felt so bad that what I did was I emailed everybody, and I said, can you please, we'd love to screen you. And we just made another season. We made it a multi thing. And then we took like the next, 19% of submissions or something like that, booked a little bit more time in the theater, and had yet another festival with its own awards and stuff. And once we kind of figured out that formula, where before COVID, it was like Oregon Short Film Festival used to be 4 or 5 days with 500 people. It was
wow. And
insane.
that many people come because that's
Oh,
where I
yeah.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. We'd have people come from Korea and Japan and from the UK and India, all kinds of places. People would come. Since COVID, it's different, and all of our events are one day, and with a 1 day event, it just spreads it out and gives people more opportunities to come in and do the whole day with us, and then move on to other things and do it 4 times a year. We say yes to a lot more films. And sometimes films come in that may have some technical problems, and we give them some advice, and they'll come back the next season. Sometimes people can't screen on that specific date, so they say, hey, could you please screen this the next season? And it works more to actually getting people that live experience that I talked about. I don't want to put up a film festival, and if you don't get in, it's like you snooze, you lose. See, you wouldn't want to be a. You put a film in our festival, you spent your money with us. We try to place you. And in some cases, we'll even recommend, checking out one of our other festivals, like the Texas Short Film Festival, or, something different that your film. I know I got a film recently that was like a dramedy. So there was like comedy. There was a few funny moments, but it was like 20 minutes where there's only a few funny things, had some serious moments to it. And we moved it from our Portland Comedy Film Festival. And we said, hey, let's talk to the judges in San Antonio, but the Texas Short Film Festival, and see if they'll take it. And they loved it. And I mean, the film, was nominated for awards and everything, where it wasn't going to get into Portland just because Portland was the laughing festival, right? So we try to do placements, try to be human about the situation, and I try to put myself in other people's shoes, and not just be here to, to charge you and say no. I'm here I'm here to welcome you and see if we can find a place for you.
Yeah, that's great, because it takes so much work, and there's so many good films I've seen that haven't landed anywhere.
Oh man. So there's a reason why we don't do feature films. And so there's a reason why. For Portland Comedy Film Festival, I remember one time we had like 27 feature films that were rated an 8 or above. Well, we don't have nearly enough room to screen 27 feature films. We don't have enough budget. We don't have enough time. It's hard to keep that much interest. It's hard to advertise that much. And we would get films that were people had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, with actors you would know. And, we just don't have the sponsorship. We just don't have the dollars. We don't have the bandwidth to run a 4-week Sundance extravaganza and screen all those features. And so we decided as a company to be the short film company, to be the festivals that focus on content that is 30 minutes or less, TV pilots, videos, music videos, short films, because we want to give as many opportunities as possible. And we want the filmmakers to come in and network with all of your peers who are at the same level, who are people who are getting into our festivals, are using their short film to prepare to either develop their series or develop a feature. And when you meet a whole bunch of people, you walk into a room, there's 150 people, 200 people in there that are all with the same exact goal. You start meeting actors and DPs and camera operators and casting directors, and it really is cool.
It's fun. Yeah. Crazy people. Love it.
Fun times ahead.
Yes.
Well, it's been great. It's been a fun time. It's great to get to know you. I hope we catch you at a future event. Maybe we'll see you in Austin or one of our other events.
Yes, I'd love to come next time. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the judges. And I look forward to seeing it live when I can watch.
No worries. Have a great one. And don't be a stranger. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.